Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of Connect, Share, Prosper. I'm your co-host, Chris Angel, and I'm here with Chaz Wilson to talk about, Chaz, how to find your replacement. This is a very juicy topic.
It is, and I don't have the answer because I'm in the process. I'm going to start with this. You know, it's interesting, and I shot a video about sitting on the sidelines. And the sidelines of a football game, this is where it came up. I was talking to my son about football. We were talking about, specifically, we're Minnesota Vikings fans, and a year ago, the Minnesota Vikings beat the New Orleans Saints on the last play to go to the NFC Championship. Stephon Diggs made this, phenomenal catch. Guy misses a tackle. He's down the sideline. I mean, we were watching it live, went nuts, couldn't believe it. And I believe his name is Mike Williams, was the safety that missed the tackle. And so we were talking about it because the Saints just played the Vikings 2 weeks ago, and they beat the Vikings. And Mike Williams had a great game. And so I was talking to my son about this, and it got me thinking, sitting on the sidelines is safe. Sitting on the sidelines, you don't have to be vulnerable. You won't miss the tackle if you're on the sidelines. You won't open yourself up to criticism and ridicule and all the things that come with that. And so one of the things that a mentor has been working with me on is to make sure in all aspects of my life, I'm not sitting on the sidelines, right? And what he meant really is that I don't have to wait for the finished product to show you guys, right? It's here, I've hired my replacement. Now let me tell you how I did it.
Right. Today,
it's more about, I'm kind of in practice on the field, and I'm going to show you what practice looks like because I haven't done it yet.
Yeah. Got it. So how does that impact what does that have to do with you finding your replacement? Do you feel like you're on the sidelines of your own career? Do you feel like?
So thank you. Let me tie that in a little bit clearer. So for me, sometimes I feel like I might not step on the field until I'm sure I could cover that guy.
Okay.
Right. And what I'm saying is until I'm not sure yet what that replacement looks like. So I'm going to step off the sidelines and share with you guys kind of my thoughts today. And I'm going to be vulnerable and then open myself up to criticism potentially of this thought.
Yeah.
But that's an important thing to do. And so I'm sort of modeling that behavior that, guys, if you're on the sidelines in your business, get off the sideline.
Right.
Wait till you're an NFL pro. You may never be until you get out. You'll never be if you don't get on the field.
I think there's something. So just to be clear, we're actually talking about Chaz Wilson of, CEO of Master Networks, finding his replacement at Master Networks.
Yeah.
And you're actually, and you don't have that person right now, correct? But it's a thought that you're actually exploring right now, and you exploring that with us in public is actually you being on the field, talking through this thought process and this soul search of what do I need? Who do I need? How does this look? All that.
Right. And let me tell you where the thought came from. So again, working with mentors right now, I think the thing that comes to my mind is, I've started this idea with business partners and taken Master Networks to where it is. But what's happening is it gets more complex. And what I haven't done is I've replaced lots of little things, except some of the bigger things that now I need to replace myself. And it doesn't mean I go away. So just to be clear, it doesn't mean I go away from Master Networks. I'm not stepping away. Right. I'm replacing myself and now going up one more level as sort of chairman of the board, become the brand builder. And I said this to you right before we started. If I'm not building the brand, then if it's not an activity that's building the brand, I have to replace myself in that activity. Right. And that's what I'm looking for. So sort of that CEO, president kind of role that does everything, manages everything, but I'm out building the brand and continue to be, I'd actually be more visible than I am now.
Right. No, I think that's probably, if I looked at just some of a handful of the most, some of the biggest companies that I can think of, that is a natural path of, where you're going. And at some point you've hit a ceiling for what you can do in that position because you're a brand builder, right? At some point, you doing the CEO activities of managing it all. Like Gary did this when you and I were at Keller Williams. We saw this with Gary. I think he stepped out of that role because he was like, I am the ceiling on my company's growth.
Yes.
and he wanted to focus on his unique abilities. And I think that's what you're saying is it's time for you to focus again on your unique abilities and bring somebody in who's a better fit for the execution of the corporation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. And I want to be clear that like, to me, it doesn't matter. There will come a point in probably almost any business, unless you just stay solo in your business and you don't want to be any bigger than that. But it's not just a big national company that this happens to. I mean, this could be 4 people and it's time to step out and you're the driver and you need to replace yourself. So
yeah.
I don't want anyone listening to go, well, I don't have a national company. This doesn't relate to me. It could relate at any level. It's just that in a national brand, when you build a big company, it just takes longer probably for you to get to that place where you replace yourself.
I think there's some really good principles under the surface of this conversation. I think one of those is staying inside your unique abilities. If you really want to grow, the more you get pulled into the weeds. In fact, let me say this: the more your business grows, the more weeds there are to get pulled into, the more details and things there are that you're going to have to manage. And if you don't have people to manage it for you, guess who gets to manage it? You do.
Oh yeah.
I've already experienced this. Like you and I mean, I'm nowhere at the same level that you are with this, but I'm in the exact same space of starting to your point. I'm a startup company with this service, right?
Yeah.
And I'm already starting to think ahead of like, I'm not going to be able to do 100 shows. I can't co-host 100 shows. It'd be very easy for me to say like, well, this is part of my unique ability, like how I do conversations and then to say, well, nobody else could do that like I do that would then put a lid on my growth. And so I'm already in the process of looking for not necessarily a replacement, but somebody to come inside and take over take on new shows so I can keep being a brand builder for what I've built. And I'm only a startup company, right?
We all are a startup. I mean, that's the point. I mean, we all go through that. Levels of that I don't think matters, because when you scale it down, the emotions become the same. The thought process becomes the same,
that's the point. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as you look to replace yourself, right, it's like your unique ability is what you're doing now, but then man, imagine if you could find 3 other great people or 4 other great people who could do this in this scales, and you're training, you kind of train the trainer and building the brand and all that kind of thing. It's amazing what could happen. But yet the emotion is, it's scary. Like you're replacing yourself. You're moving into a space that you have to let go of things. And we can all say the right cliche statements and, you got to let go of those things and you got to leverage and all that. But when it comes down to the fact that I've built this organization with great people, and then to say like some of these really important decisional things that happen on a daily basis, I would step out of that, is like frightening beyond belief. It just really is. It's not that I don't know I need to do that.
Yeah.
It's just frightening. Yeah. It's just, it's a big, big step. So to go find somebody that you would trust at a certain level, at that kind of level, and, value everything about them. Really, I'm not looking for skill. I'm looking totally for the characteristics and attitudes of the person. That's what I'm looking for, because the skills I think over time could be taught. I'm not actually a very skilled person. I have a lot of attitudes and characteristics that I think help me along the way, and I can improve my skills. But that's where I'm looking right now.
I feel like this conversation is it's interesting because it took me a long time in life to get to a place where I started to look for who. I was so afraid to add other people to my business because it was the most unpredictable, it felt like, in my opinion. It's easy to add tools. It's easy to add systems. Like I know what I'm adding. Like I see that's what I want to add. But when you're talking about a person and then managing the person, and will they take advantage of me? Will they work as hard as I work? It's just scary. Like you said, to your point.
And they're not you.
Right.
Like there's a certain level of me thinking that it's me that's helped build where we are. And there's some truth to that. And so then you bring somebody in, they're not you. And, they may, like you said, they may not work as hard. They may let you down. But it's also, I think for me, this is the hard part, right? I've got where I've got to right now, or I am where I am because of the relationships I've built with people. And what I don't want to lose is that level of activity and relationship with these folks. And the thought that's holding me back is if I move to that level, then I'm a little more disengaged with those relationships. That's why they say it's lonely at the top.
Right.
The truth is I don't need to be. I have to keep telling myself I might actually be more available for those relationships than I am now.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a self-talk, right? I'm going through that.
I know. It's good. I think too, there's a piece of that where you were just talking about like being more available. Some people can find their identity can be wrapped up in the work they do.
Mm-hmm.
And to step out of some of that work into something that has more margin of time, more cushion, more space to invest in relationships and stuff could feel like, man, I'm not, their identity now shifts and changes because it's not wrapped up in the work they were doing. Some people have identity wrapped up in how hard they work or how many hours they work. And it's uncomfortable to let that go and to step into something new because my identity is over here and not over here.
I mean, I could spend an hour on that alone, and the fact that like when you especially start up to, whatever you want to call it, start up to successful, to significance, et cetera. Like, I mean, when you're in startup to getting to successful, the grind is 24/7. So then all of a sudden you get to a certain level, and to sort of pull that back a little bit in the way you've done it is scary too, because you feel like if I stop doing that, that got me where I am, then I won't get to where I want to go. And that's not necessarily true.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And the quiet, when you start to experience a little bit of quiet and breathing room where your mind goes, it can be. I did this after 7 years ago, moving into my own company and stuff. And it was like, I had a lot of space, and you can be surrounded by your thoughts. You can be bored. There's just a lot of like new space and territory to think through. And that could be unnerving, but I guess to your original point, like all of this is about getting on the field. And what you do is you wait on the sidelines until because you're too afraid to be on the field and get bored. You're too afraid to be on the field and lose your identity. You're too afraid to be on the field. And because you're afraid somebody might take advantage of you, like all of that just puts off what you're here to do and what's next for you.
It's sort of like, as you just said that, I was thinking the analogy the same way. It's sort of like, picture as if I've been playing quarterback. I can impact the game. I can call an audible. I can put my head down and try to pick up 2 yards, whatever it is, the analogy.
Yeah.
And now I'm moving off the field to coach, if you will. Mm-hmm. And it's that level of going, can I have the same impact on the game? Will I have more impact on the game if I can find a good quarterback or even a better quarterback? It's like, it's all these thoughts that go through your head. It's just change. It's evolution of an organization. And I'm just sharing it with all of you because I'm experiencing it right now. And I don't know the timetable either. Like, it's not like the athletes that announce a retirement and come back 8 times. I'm trying to work through what that timetable is.
Yeah. That's great. Chaz is out of retirement again. Yeah. That's funny.
Right.
That's really good. I was going to ask like timeline. So, okay. So this is what's so great about this. Then you're just sitting here like saying, hey, this is what's going in my head. I love that. And all of those that listen to this from Master Networks, like I like too, that I think part of the benefit we get from you sharing what you're sharing is that you're out in front and we get to kind of draft on your lessons in life. And I appreciate that because, it sort of sucks when you're the first one in, like into the foxhole. You're like, hey, let me go out here in the minefield of all this and figure it out. Like we just get to draft on you going first. So thank you.
You're welcome. I'm okay. Like, I've made some mistakes publicly and hired maybe the wrong people on occasion and done different things and made my own mistakes and tripped up. And that's okay. Yeah. I'm okay to do that because it's all in the progression of me achieving and fulfilling the dreams that I have. And that's just part of it. So get off the sideline, get in the game.
Yeah. I love it. So good. Well, I think this is a good place to wrap. Where do you want to send people? Should we send them to Chaz Wilson? Should we send them to Master Networks? Like
either way, let's go both.
Let's go both. Let's do both.
Masternetworks.com or chazwilson.com. Again, you can plug into Master Networks and join this tribe of amazing business professionals. And if you are looking for more business coaching, personal development, you can hit my website, chazwilson.com. I have all kinds of resources available there.
I love it. If anybody hears of or thinks they're a fit for CEO, or they know somebody who would be a good fit, like what's a good way to sort of let you know that?
Yeah, just email me, Chaz, CHAS at masternetworks.net. Just put in the subject, CEO, potential prospect, something like that would grab my attention.
Nice.
Because I filter through the hundreds of emails a day. So go ahead and put that in there.
Love it. Good. I like it. That's juicy. All right. Chaz, thanks, man. We'll catch you in the next episode. See ya.
All right, dude.